what you're actually looking for transparency is somewhere in between here and here. So you see how that's this right in front of my thumb. Okay, so
if stuff fits around it and you can avoid some of those, but
there we go. There we go. That's the way to look at it. Make sure you're
Okay, yeah.
okay.
Now, if you're going to also work the backside, are you going to sand the...
So if you're going to do both sides of the skin,
Right.
then you need to be able to measure the difference between the two. You want to hold it back up to the sun?
Oh, I got a shot over your shoulder of it.
So, like right here, where it's thinning up.
Right.
Actually, no, that's actually part of a transparency. So that, as you sand it, will come in to the same color. Okay. You need to split the difference between the two.
So sand one side, then sand the other, and keep checking as you're going?
Right. So I always recommend, if you're going to start with a course, you go to a course, and I would work it to about a little bit thinner than this. I would go to about there in opacity.
Where you can see the hair follicle holes from the other side?
So yeah.
Is that what you're seeing when you're backlighting it? You see those little tiny circles. Is that...
So you're talking about
Yes.
these?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those are going to be hair follicles. Some of that's just graining in the surface.
Okay.
You know, so it's not necessarily just follicles, because if you flip it back over, you know, most of your hair follicles have been removed. You know, so what you're seeing right there. So if I stick my finger right there where you're seeing them, the hair follicles are left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you've actually got those dark spots. That's where the root of the hair has been left in.
Yeah.
And if I
But where it's been pulled out, doesn't it leave that little hole? Or is that not what I'm seeing? Where I'm seeing
So,
these little
like right
holes?
here?
Yes.
Okay. So, you see any hairs?
No,
Right.
because they
So-
leave a hole when they are pulled out, right?
They do, but they don't. Okay.
Okay.
So remember, we're pulling the hair out.
Yes.
Nature abhors a vacuum. So some of those, actually most of those, collapse
Okay.
and close during the stretching process, because a good amount of you're breaking out and making a good amount of glue in that skin, particularly when you're giving it a good scrape. So you turn around, you give a coarse sand on this side,
Right.
then you start with the medium. You do a medium on this side.
Okay.
I never do a coarse on the grain, because the grain is almost ready to do Scrabble work just by itself.
Right.
Okay. Then I'll do fine. Then I'll do fine. So normally when I've got a skin up on Julie and I'm doing it with an electric sander, I'll be working back and forth between, so I go to I usually start at around, depending on the skin, around 240, and it's a super light pass on the grain. It's when I start getting up into 500 and 600 grit that I'll spend a little bit more time, but by that point in time, you're really just standing there and you're using this kind of pressure on the skin.
Right.
Okay.
It's almost non-existent. One of my frustrations with working with the electric sanders is you can actually get the skin to a point where it vibrates on the frame, where you'll get, just because of that vibration, you're getting extra, right?
Divots.
Yep, and
Because it's skipping.
right, because you're making the skin vibrate at such a high rate of speed that it's actually skipping along the face of the skin.
Okay.
Okay, which is why I keep that touch super light, which is another learned skill. So yeah, if you're going to work both surfaces of the skin, start with a medium, then go a little bit finer. But again, you're even working with the sanding loaves, it's a painstakingly long process. But yeah.
Okay. Are you going to
It's a good piece.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Did you need me?
No.